just a really fun bike. Anywhere I go with this bike, I mean, it just draws a huge crowd because no one knows what it is. It's not one that you can really get out on the highway and do a lot of cruising with, but as far as just around the town riding or, taking it to small bike shows and events, I just absolutely adore this bike. Hello, my name is Eric Minor. We are here in beautiful Yorba Linda. Here to talk a little bit about my bike. This is a 52 Hoffmann. It is a 175cc two-stroke, single cylinder, dual exhaust. This bike is an extremely rare bike. After doing my research, I've found that it's so rare, in fact, that it's hard to find any information out there on this bike. This bike was made in Hoffmann, Germany. Hoffmann was a company from 1949 to 1954. My grandfather is German. My grandpa died in 1989. Since then, I have become a mechanic and moved to Southern California. My family is originally from Illinois. And my mother had called me and said, hey, we want you to have Grandpa's bike. It's in pieces, but we feel like that you're probably one of the ones qualified that could actually put this bike together. So that, in fact, is what I have done. Took me a couple of years to locate the necessary items to put it all together, but didn't do any restoration on the bike at all. Basically, what we did is the bike was literally in a box, so we assembled it. The pistons and the piston and the crank and everything was all seized up, so we basically cleaned everything up, assembled it, and basically, in a nutshell, just got it running. We got it running last year, and it's been a really fun bike for me. Anywhere I go with this bike, I mean, it just draws a huge crowd because no one knows what it is. But it is a really neat bike, and as you can tell, it's a very small bike. It looks like a hardtail from here, but it in fact actually has suspension. The axle carrier comes through the rear end, through the axle and through these shocks right here. So this wheel assembly actually moves up and down. And then you also have your spring seat here along with the forks in the front. So it rides really well for as old of a bike it is. All original. The tires that are on here are the original tires from 1952. They're made in Dunlop, Germany. So they're Dunlops from Dunlop, Germany. The headlight assembly itself has a tack on it. The tack is registering 843 miles. Now, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but from what I've heard from my family, this bike was disassembled so it could be shipped over here to my grandfather. And so I'm assuming that is the original miles when the bike was taken apart, and this was probably back in the 60s. It's just a really fun bike. It's not one that you can really get out on the highway and do a lot of cruising with, but as far as just around the town riding or, taking it to small bike shows and events, I just absolutely adore this bike. It is a great bike, and I've had a lot of fun with it these last few years. Another unique feature on this bike, which I found humorous, is how the back wheel comes off. If you look over here, right here is a hinge. So these two strut rods would come off, and this whole fender assembly will hinge up, and you would take your axle carrier out, and the back wheel would slide out that way, which I thought that was a pretty unique feature on this bike. The other thing that gets me is how thin the tires are. I mean, I've seen mountain bike tires that are thicker than this, Another unique feature is the key, So this little piece right here that comes out is the actual key assembly, and without this, it will not start. It doesn't look like it'd be that hard to duplicate, but yeah, without that key assembly, that's how you turn the bike on and off. The bike, whenever I got it, did not have foot pegs with it, and I searched high and low looking for foot pegs. Again, I found hardly any information at all out there on the Hoffmann, so I literally had to make my own foot pegs for it to have my place for my feet to rest. But again, other than that, everything else on this bike is completely original, other than the drive chain. The rear section, the pipes, if you look at the back of the pipes, they look like a Gatling gun, which is another conversation piece. I mean, this bike was made literally right after World War II, and you could tell that the Germans still had a lot of that on their mind. Again, going after the Gatling gun. But just a great all-around bike, fun to ride. It has a cool little compartment here, which I would assume that whoever was riding it would put their wallet maybe, or their money. This little compartment here opens up and you can put all your stuff in there, and then that would lock down. Again, it's a two-stroke. It's not injected. You actually have to mix the gas. I myself run it really, really rich because I'm not out there for performance. I'm just wanting it to last as long as possible. So, but the thing, has fired up for me ever since we've put it together. It's fired up for me. It usually takes a few kicks. It's a little cold-natured depending on how long it's been setting since firing it. But yeah, it's a runnable bike. It's a 4-speed transmission. All the gears work. Brakes are still good on it. Again, a testimony of the tires are the fact that they're not that dry rotted, means that they're that old. Yeah, again, I just don't know a whole much more about the bike. I do know that there's, on the side here, there should be rubber padding to keep your knees from getting sore from riding, but those are unavailable, of course. And then on this back section here, there's what they call a buddy seat. So I've been unable to locate one of those, again, being that it's such a rare bike, but there's actually a seat that goes back here that has a handle. So your passenger would ride back here and hold onto that handle, and then here's where the foot pegs would go, right here. And it's just, again, just a very, very unique bike, and it's amazing in its simplicity of this bike, of how it runs, being a single cylinder, 2-stroke with the dual exhaust. And it's just an amazing bike. I will say that the bike is for sale. I've tried to have it appraised. The guy that appraised the bike said it is worth whatever someone will pay for it. It's just such a rare bike, it's really hard to put a value. I'm gonna leave you my phone number. It's area code 714. It's 580-7848. If you guys have that are watching this video have any questions, you can feel free to contact me, and I would be happy to answer any other questions about the bike.